guys, long time no see. 24 hours just seems like too long. So since the passing of Mr. Brodie Lee, I've been thinking a lot. Obviously, naturally, I've been thinking about his career and his family, but I've also been thinking about how his legacy should find its rightful place in the history books of pro wrestling, along with wondering what's going to happen next for the Dark Order now that the Exalted One is no longer there. So, let's talk about it. As the entire pro wrestling industry mourns Brodie Lee's death, it also begs the question of how his legacy will find its rightful place in the history books of pro wrestling. That question could perhaps be answered by the wrestling industry and his fans, upon whom the responsibility lies, to value his legacy and recognize the untapped potential he exuded. And this is where AEW should step up and display the full merit of the foundation which this company was built upon. And that is, for the wrestlers, by the wrestlers. Brodie Lee's greatest achievement in AEW would have to be the dethroning of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, for the TNT Championship in a matter of minutes. It came to an end after Cody won the TNT title back in a grueling dog collar match on Dynamite. A match that Brodie personally wished for and expressed gratitude towards AEW for listening to his creative input. And I think that right now would be a good time to take a moment to realize how unselfish of an act it was on Brodie Lee's part to agree to put Cody over, in spite of having so much momentum on his side. And this in itself represents the true essence of his mentality, where he wanted to put the promotion and storyline over first. There's no wonder why Brodie Lee's peers, both at AEW and in his previous promotions, have gone on record to say that he is one of the truest and most dedicated and passionate performers, etching Brodie Lee's name into the history books. This is an idea that will be more fitting in the long run for AEW, should AEW come up with their own version of the Hall of Fame or something similar. The name Brodie Lee would most respectively be entitled to one of the first to be included. This would serve as a more permanent way to have his legacy etched into the AEW history books. So now, where is Dark Order going to go from here? I feel like we'll likely see them go one of two directions. One is to dissolve the faction, and everyone will go their separate ways, except John Silver and Alex Reynolds, who would be a tag team. Or they will find a new Exalted One. And if this happens, I think the person they would pick is Hangman Page. Now I know, you guys are probably just thinking, like, we know you love Hangman Page, of course you would pick him. But hear me out. I know a lot of you may disagree with this one, considering how wild it sounds. However, considering the recent surprises that AEW has pulled off, with Kenny Omega's heel turn, the Impact crossover, and the biggest surprise of winter, the return of Sting. It seems that AEW might carry on pushing the narrative of what we considered unexpected in pro wrestling. And that is where Hangman Page enters. Not riding a horse, not with a beer bottle in his hand, and certainly not wearing a cowboy hat. No. Instead, Hangman suits up in a shocking heel turn, attacks any top opponent of Dark Order, presumably Matt Hardy, and announces himself as the new leader of the Dark Order. This is intended to generate heat from the audience. Adam Page could further go on to claim how the Dark Order lost their way while Brodie was gone. And this would easily generate a lot of heat from Brodie Lee's fans, as well as solidify Hangman's image as the other detestable heel, not unlike AEW's world champion Kenny Omega. This will serve as a great storyline for two reasons. First, it'll lift Dark Order out of the recent comedic skits that have softened their image as the threat to the top AEW faces. And secondly, it'll add an entirely unexpected dimension to the character work of Hangman Page. Or Mr. Adam Page, perhaps? Let's be honest. Even though most of us would agree that Adam Page is a great talent and knows how to work his character, but his character could still use much needed development in terms of diversity. Throughout his career, Hangman Page has played the rough and tough cowboy who rides horses, drinks beers, and does other cowboy shit. But this is becoming repetitive and oftentimes overdone. Thus, the opportunity to experiment with a completely different version of his character. This could rejuvenate Hangman Page's image and entice the audience. With all that said, regardless of how the wrestling industry tries to come to terms with such a huge loss, it goes without saying that Brodie Lee will be missed deeply by his colleagues and his fans all over the world, and of course, more than anything else, his family. So, what do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen to the Dark Order now that Brodie Lee isn't there? Leave your comments down below because I'd love to know your thoughts. That's it for today's video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!